Remember when I essentially said that McFarlane was the sole cause of global warming? Remember when I basically said that he was going around and single-handedly killing all of the turtles? Well, actually, I never really said that. But all jokes aside, guys, I really wanted to dive into today's video because there's quite a bit to talk about. And look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. A lot of the things that I'm going to say on today's video is just kind of a bunch of repetition. But I've said it before, I'm a huge McFarlane fan, but that doesn't mean that he is above criticism. I mean, if he does something that I think is a slight to his fan base or his consumer base, then I am definitely going to acknowledge it and talk about it extensively. And you guys have seen that for probably like the last 2 to 3 weeks. I've definitely gone very hard at McFarlane because I feel like some of the stuff that he was releasing was very lackluster. It was very lazy repaint, and in some cases they were not even physical action figures. And I'm honestly so tired of the argument that some of these figures are store exclusives, as if that was any different. At least in my personal opinion, it doesn't really make any difference. There are still resources being used to manufacture these. There's still a factory somewhere mass producing these, instead of them giving us brand new action figures, new characters, or new suits in general. But in today's video, there's nothing but good stuff. I'm only going to reference some really good releases from McFarlane. We're going to be talking about 3 of the best figures I think maybe that he's done this year. It's a matter of perspective, matter of personal opinion, but I still feel like these figures are definitely worth talking about. I would go as far as saying that at least 2 of these figures almost feel like almost like a kit bash, like they put together different pieces from different figures and kind of made them fit together. And I definitely feel like they go well together here, especially with these figures. The first one that I really wanted to dive into was the first appearance Batman from Detective Comic Books number 27. And as I mentioned earlier, yes, this is reusing a body mold that we've seen plenty of times, but it's doing it the correct way. We are getting a wired cape with this action figure, as well as a brand new head sculpt. And I've said it before, I don't think that every single figure should have a wired cape, but from time to time it's nice for him to throw it in there. The figure will also come with a whopping 6 total hands. Not to mention, this is going to stay at that regular $22.99 price point. I would have loved to see this figure at that deluxe price point or the collector's edition line. If only he would have thrown in a few more accessories in there, make it more deluxe, throw an action figure stand in there, get crazy with it. It is one of the more iconic Batman looks out there. It is the original look. This is up for pre-order as of the moment of this recording. It has sold out through numerous different retailers, but just keep an eye on it. I think it's going to be one of those figures that pops in and out of stock, and then we eventually see it in person at multiple different stores. We are also getting a black and gray Nightfall Batman variant, and I know this was the figure that certain people were just jumping out of windows for. Well, no, not really, but there were people just ripping their clothes off and just running around naked and rampant out in the streets and rioting. Also not true, but you get what I'm saying. I think it was more of a metaphorical, it was more of a figurative thing. Like, people were absolutely losing their minds over this figure because I don't believe that it's accurate to the source material, but more so they feel like this is one of those cheap repaints. Personally, I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna lean too hard into McFarlane. I completely get it. There are times when he's going to give us like just alternate colors on some of the suits, whether that's Batman or Superman or whoever it may be. I'm okay with it, even if it isn't accurate to the comic book source material, just because it's, you know, something that it gives people options if they want multiple different Nightfalls, but they don't want the exact same color scheme. In this particular case, you get that exact same that exact same suit and the exact same version of Batman, just with alternate colors. So I think it gives people options, but it's way better than having McFarlane just dip an action figure in gold paint and have that be like a Walmart exclusive. Nobody wants that. At least this adds somewhat, you know, a little bit of value to your collection as a whole. And then to round things out, we are getting a Knightfall Azrael Batman armor action figure. Looks absolutely phenomenal. The amount of plastic that is thrown into this figure, the amount of engineer work that goes into this is really impressive from McFarlane. And it's worth noting that all of these figures, at least if you're picking these up at retail, all of them are going to be at that $22.99 price point. None of them are a part of a Build-A-Figure. Neither one of these is a part of that collector's edition line either. So you're only going to have to shell out about $23 to pick these up. I think that is definitely another feature worth noting from McFarlane. The figure does look phenomenal, but I will say, even though it has very intricate sculpting and overall the body mold looks phenomenal for this figure, it is missing a little bit of paint. We see mostly just like red plastic or gold or gray in some cases. So this definitely feels like a figure that could benefit from a little bit of a wash, or if you're that deep into customizing, you could paint it, you know, a little bit of detail here and there. But the figure overall, as I said, the sculpt work just looks really well done for this particular figure. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I was really going hard at him for the last 2 to 3 weeks, but I feel like this particular wave or these 3 figures haven't necessarily redeemed him, but it's definitely gone very far in terms of just kind of giving him a little bit more credibility in front of the fans and his consumer base. Only time will tell if this is one of just an offshoot of figures that just happen to look phenomenal, at least in promotional images, or if this is just a quick little pit stop before he reverts to some of the dirty tactics that we've been seeing from McFarlane. Now, as I mentioned, most of these figures are completely sold out from a lot of different retailers. But as I mentioned, I think this is going to be a wave, or at least these 3 figures. I don't know if they're necessarily a wave, but all 3 of these figures I think are going to pop in and out of stock. So there's definitely no need to panic. I think it's important to stay patient. Don't cave into the third-party market prices. I think eventually you'll be able to find these figures at retail. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm very curious to see what all of you have to say down below in the comment section. And if you guys want to see similar content of me just ranting, there are some playlists on there. And if you guys are interested in seeing the top 5 most expensive figures in general, they may be Marvel Legends, they may be just McFarlane, or just in general Hasbro action figures, we do have a playlist of the top 5 most expensive action figures on our channel. So make sure that you guys check that out before you guys leave. So as always, if you guys enjoy the content, you guys can hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.